Hi, I'm Paula. I host the Knitting Pipeline podcast, which is an audio cast, and this is Knitting Pipeline Extra. You can find me on Ravelry as PrairiePiper and on Instagram as Knitting Pipeline. That's pretty much my social media. And I know my glass glare bothers people, but I've tried a couple different locations, and today you have glass glare, but I'll try not to add in any extra for you. But I did get new glasses. Well, I ordered new glasses today, and not just because of the glare, but I got the anti-glare, so we'll see if that should make a difference. And not just because of this, but I noticed in photographs, I always have to either take my glasses off or, it doesn't look good. So I have so much to share today. We had the Knitting Pipeline Retreat last weekend. It was a great success. Everyone had a great time, I think. And I have quite a few things to show from that. I have a lot of quilting. The last time I put out a video cast was February 9th. I looked back and I've done a lot of quilting since then. So that'll be, after I get the knitting done, I'll have the quilting. I find if I tip my head down like this, but that looks kind of weird. And the light is changing, so maybe it won't be so bad. So thanks for joining me today. I really enjoy doing this, and I'm always kind of amazed at how much stuff accumulates around me when I start gathering things up. First of all, this is, I might have a photo at the beginning of my excellent model, Sarah, but this is my newest design. It came out, I don't know, about the 23rd of February or something like that. It's called the Crooked Ewe Cowl. Here we are. And I made it, I designed it because I purchased a gradient set of these. I think there were 6 skeins in the set. It was from the Copper Corgi, and that was at the Georgia retreat last year, and I did not know what to do with it. I thought it was fingering weight when I first bought it, so I came home and then I came up with this because I wanted to use every bit of that beautiful gradient. The stitch pattern reminded me a little bit of the Drunkard's Path in quilting, and I didn't want to name it that, so I named it Crooked Ewe because there's a piping tune, and those of you who don't listen to the audio cast might not know that I play bagpipes in a competition band, Celtic Cross Pipes and Drums, and there's a piping tune called the Ewe with a Crooked Horn, and that is how I came up with the name. I really like this. I only knit this one. Usually when I design something, I end up knitting it 2 or 3 times, but I got this done and I thought, I think I'm pretty happy with it just the way it is. I love the way you can kind of fold it, put it under your coat. It has kind of a raw edge on it. I didn't put a border on it. I like the way it rolls a little bit, but if you don't like that, you can of course put a garter stitch or seed or ribbing on there, but I like it just the way it is. And I can put it up like this so you can see it a little bit better. It also looks really good on the inside. It's not reversible in the sense that it's the same on both sides. So the lovely folks at Knitcircus, they actually came to the retreat. It was so exciting. Jala Spyro and Amy Dachin came to my retreat. I didn't know it until I don't think they knew it until the week of. And then they said, well, we're coming down. They're about a 4-hour drive from us. And they have Lavish, which is a gradient. A lot of people bought it at the retreat, and that would be perfect for this. And they also have Spectacular, but I have to clarify with them. Someone told me that it was just for the retreat, so I'm not really sure about that. But again, this is called the Crooked Ewe, or Crooked Ewe Cowl is the proper name for it. It is on Ravelry. It's a $5 download. It is sport weight, by the way. So, yeah, I think I said that actually. So there it is. See if anything else to say about that. Oh, it's very easy to knit, by the way. It looks much more complicated than it is. It is just the knit stitch, knit 2 together, slip, slip, knit, and yarn over. And those are the only things you really need to know. And in the pattern, I give you ideas cast on and bind off to help you maximize the use of the beautiful gradient that you have, because when you have one like this, you just don't want to waste anything of it. So let's see. Oh, last week, or excuse me, the last time I podcast or did a video cast, I showed you the Aziza bonnet. It was still wet, and I sent it off to the baby, and it fits her. It's a little big, which is fine because she'll be able to wear it in the fall, and I do have some photos of her wearing it, so I will put those at the end. And in the meanwhile, I made the Camilla Babe cardigan by Carrie, Bostick, Hoge. There we go. And that is in Quince and Company. Lark, it is the worsted weight and in the pomegranate colorway. This is such a cute pattern, and I purchased the collection that has, by Carrie, Bostick, Hoge, that has this, I think, in adult all the way to infant. I did the 6 to 12 month size. It looks big, but I don't think it is, and they live in a warmer climate. I mean, a temperate climate, so a sweater is often all she will need. And I also have new little labels that has her name on it and a little llama or alpaca. There we go on that. So I'm going to send that off this week, I think, and I just think it's adorable. It's all in garter stitch, so it's garter stitch in the round, so you do have to purl to do it. It's bottom up and has that little raglan. And there's the back, it's just plain. Oh, I did make one modification. I went down 2 needle sizes on the sleeves so that they taper in just a little bit. On the original, they're kind of like a bell sleeve, and they still are pretty wide, but I like that a little bit. That is the Camilla Babe cardigan by Carrie, Bostick, Hoge in Quince and Company, Lark in the pomegranate colorway. Just shift my notes around. I have a few notes here. So I've been knitting socks for my husband, and I brought something to show you here. This is a little embarrassing, but I brought my box of socks that I have in my closet, and they're not all in the box, but here they are. That's my box of socks. I have a few pair that are in the laundry, but this is basically it. For hand knit socks, which is mostly mine. My husband, I'm going to fill him a box of socks. And I bought him a box, and this is it. It's considerably smaller, as you can see. I thought it looked kind of manly. Got it at Target. Both of them are from Target. This had the leather on there. I actually got 2 of them. One of them you see back there, it actually holds fat quarters quite well. So when I fill this one, I will then start on that one. So eventually he'll have a full box of socks as well. And he has 2 pair, 2.5 actually. This pair, I don't know if I actually showed. I don't think I did, but I just recently washed them. This is a cuff down using Kate Atherley's basic 3-in-1 rib pattern. And then these are my first pair of, well, toe up and fish lips kiss heel socks, which I did. If you listen to the audio cast, I told about how I was determined to knit these 2 at a time, toe up. I should probably put those on this side so I don't have such a shadow. 2 at a time, toe up, and I thought if I stick it out through these socks, then I'll be good at it. And I got up to the fish lips kiss heel. I did the heel, and I was on the cuff. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to cave. So I don't know, but I'm going to Helen Stewart's Country House retreat this week. Actually, I leave on Thursday, and Mina Phillip is going to be there, the famous Mina Phillip of 35 pairs of sock fame. So maybe if I sit close to her, I'll absorb it or something. But I was miserable, honestly. I didn't like it at all. Okay, see how that cuff flares up a little bit? That's something that people don't really like about toe up. I do a one by one rib at the top of socks, whether it's cuff down or toe up, unless there's a special one in the pattern. So, what was I going to say about that? Oh yeah, it flares. I heard a tip by Rose at the Knitting Pipeline Retreat, and she said when she does Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, she only does the yarn over on half the stitches, and I think she said she does them on the purl stitches because those are the ones that you do the yarn over the normal way, and then it has enough stretch but it doesn't flare out. So I might try that. I actually did the suspended bind off on these, and this is another Crafty Girl in the Ponky Brewster colorway, which has a lot of purple in it. My husband likes them. He's put them on. I'm not sure that the Fish Lips Kiss Heel is going to be great for him because he and I both have a very high instep, which is weird because at least one of our sons, maybe two, has very flat feet. So here's his box of socks on its way. I have another pair in progress. By the way, with your socks, you should never fold. This is from Marie Kondo of the Magic Art of Tidying Up. You should not fold your socks over to pair them up because you will stretch out the top unnecessarily. So these are Knitcircus, and I just fold them like this and then like that, and then I put them in to my box of socks like this. Now, some of these are going to go to Scotland with me in England. The ones in the back here, because I don't wear them that much. I find that I just wear the ones in the front, and then I wash, and then these in the back are not my favorites. So I'll probably take them and wear them and leave them with my friend to take to a charity shop, or she can keep them for herself, but that way I'll have a little more room for yarn in my suitcase. There'll probably be some other items of clothing that I might leave there too. Sorry, I had to bend out of the photo there. So you might as well see the pair that I'm making now for my husband. These are top down, so like this, and it's Socks That Rock. I don't remember the colorway at all, but I am knitting them parallel, so I have two pair going, but I only brought one to show you. And my 1x1 rib, and then something I'm trying that Nina Phillip did mention is doing ribbing. Usually I will do a whole ribbed cuff, but I didn't on these. And then I did about 1.5 inches of 1x1 ribbing just on the back of the ankle, so it will squish in a little. I was planning on doing a short row heel on this, but sort of feel a cuff coming on. So I have both socks to where I would put the heel in. So we'll see what I decide to do on that. And this is a yarn cozy from, I think it's Buffy Ann Designs, that will keep your yarn from getting tangled and such. I love Socks That Rock. It is such a fun yarn to knit with. It's so round. It just feels great. Oh, the lovely Amber Lindemann, gave these to everybody at the Knitting Pipeline Retreat. We had, I think, 4 or 5 in everybody's little pocket of their bag, and this is to put around a pair of socks, so when you give them as a gift, it has a label on it. There we go. And knit with love. Thank you, Amber. I don't know if you watch this, but if you do, we really appreciate it. It's so generous of you. All right. Might as well do other works in progress here. I have the Balsam Hollow shawl, which is my own design, and as I've said before, I rarely knit my own pattern after it's been published. This is upside down because it's a top-down triangular. It is in the Christmas at Green Gables colorway with the vintage sleigh ride, and these are my ebony needles that are Suzanne's, I think, and I got them from Webb's. I have to say, once I'm done with the design, it isn't quite as thrilling to knit it up, but I do love the yarn, and Annie of Little Knits, or Little Skein in the Big Wool, was gracious enough to send me these gorgeous colors, and so I don't do a lot on it every day, but I try to keep plugging away at it. And then my other work in progress is in my new Fat Squirrel Fibers bag. This is the commemorative bag for the Knitting Pipeline Retreat. It has a label on it. I don't get it every year, but I did love this print. And I think she has some, where's the bird? There's the bird. And I love postage stamps too. So yeah, I got the sweater size, pre-ordered it. And in it is my sans serif sweater by Elizabeth Doherty. It doesn't look like much yet. I've done the right shoulder. It doesn't look like anything. It looks like a mess is what it looks like. But I'm using my Diacraft circular needles, and I have all the skeins wound. This is Quince & Company Lark in the Dogwood colorway, which is a beautiful pink. And it's just knitting up beautifully. I have forgotten how quickly a worsted weight sweater knits up. This is my swatch, so you can kind of see what it's going to look like. And I actually am knitting on a size 8. I don't even have very many size 8 needles because I rarely get up to that size, but that's what I needed. I don't know if my gauge has tightened up a little bit or what, but at any rate, that is from the book Top Down, Reimagining Set-In Sleeves by Elizabeth Doherty, published by Quince & Company, and Elizabeth is going to be at Helen Stewart's Country House retreat next week as well, so I am, that was a zipper there. I'm really excited about seeing her, and I think one thing I'm going to ask her is if she will measure me. Bronwyn did, and it would be interesting to see if those two measurements are the same, and I think Elizabeth would have some interesting things to teach me about that. Let's see. Okay, now I think we are at in the pipeline. I already showed you the Balsam Hollow shawl, the top-down socks, the sans serif, and then Sparking Joy. These next items are things that have brought me joy in the last couple of weeks. I received a package from the wonderful Nicole of Hue Loco, and she sent me 3 samples of her gorgeous Hue Loco yarn. Look at this. There we go. Aren't those? Oh, they're so amazing. I love a good tweed. This is tweed sock. It is merino nylon, 8515 fingering weight, 2-ply, and the colorway is ballerina. Isn't her logo great there? This is her Phyllis sock, 8020 merino nylon, and the colorway is frost. If you have not seen Nicole's podcast, also called Hue Loco, she's Hue Loco everywhere. She's adorable. She's smart. The podcasts are nice and short, so you can get through them rather quickly. And I love her, really. Then this one has silk in it, 50-50 silk merino fingering weight. And this is this is the opal sock, and it is well water. I don't know yet. I'll probably give 1 or 2 of these away, but I haven't decided yet exactly how to do that, so you'll see them again at some point. Now we're getting into some of the things from the knitting pipeline retreat, and first off the bat is Sun Valley Fibers. This is from the wonderful Jeanette. She gave me 3 skeins of this to make something for the baby. And I already have a sweater picked out. I want to knit the Miss Marple. It has cables. It's a classic cardigan. And this is her, let's see, this is a cashmere blend, I think. Yes, it is merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon, and a worsted weight. And the colorway is calligraphy. And there's her logo. I forgot to say, too, I'm trying to talk louder because I know some people on an iPad, for some reason, the volume is not as good. If this doesn't work by having the camera a little closer, then I will use a microphone. I tried using my microphone that plugs in, and I couldn't really tell whether it was making any difference or not. So I have 3 skeins of this, and I think it's gorgeous. It's a tonal, just absolutely beautiful. And Jeanette is the nicest person. You cannot meet a sweeter person than Jeanette. Also, I don't know if you've seen, I'm make a little bit of crackling noise here. This was a gift from Princess Knits a Lot. She gave one to Bronwyn and to Sarah and me. I first saw this on Susan B. Anderson's podcast, and it is a ruler gauge by Ann Budd. So you lay this on top of your, well, I've already zipped that up, but you lay it on top of your knitted fabric and line up these, and then you can see your gauge on it. So it's quite ingenious, and I wanted one, but I did not have one. Thank you very much, Jeannie, for the gift. It is perfect, and I know I'll be using this a lot. That is called the Knit for Fun. Well, it's a good thing. It's Ann Budd Knits. It's a good thing I'm getting new glasses. But yeah, it'll be 10 days before they get the lenses in, so I don't have them right away. Another thing for the retreat is that Jennifer, Daizie Knits, did a kit, and Rainstorm Studios made the bag, and then Jennifer dyed the sock blank, which is inspired by the tartan that my band wears, Celtic Cross Pipes and Drums, which is the Flower Scotland tartan. It's blue and green and has a little bit of ancient red or orange in it. So this is a sock blank. If you've never used a sock blank, which I have not, so this will be a new experience for me. I have one that I dyed at the main retreat. You start from the end that pulls easily and knit from it. And this is a single strand sock blank, so I would weigh it, knit the first sock until I get halfway, and then knit the second sock. So I am so excited about that. This sock blank by Daizie Knits, the bag by Rainstorm Studios. And those of you going to the Georgia retreat, she's one of the attendees, and she's actually going to have these bags for sale there. I think she's going to take pre-orders as well for the whole kit. And here you can see the Flower Scotland tartan type plaid, and then Knitting Pipeline logo here. Well, it's not my logo, but they did. And then there's a very cute little bagpipe pull. Of course, it had to have bagpipe on it. That was a nice thing too. Oh, and then here I bob below the screen. As I said, the folks from Knitcircus were there, and I got this. This is the Lavish, which is 70% superwash merino wool, 20% cashmere, 10% nylon, 350 yards, and this is over the rainbow striped set, perfectly matched striped set. So when you knit socks, and I might try 2 at a time again because, yeah, it's perfectly matched and the stripes are just amazing, stitch for stitch. So that would be a perfect time to do 2 at a time. Isn't that gorgeous? I can't wait to start on this, but I don't think they're appropriate for my husband. He's pretty accepting of purple and stuff, but I think rainbow might be a little bit over the top. Also, if you come to one of my retreats, you get a bag. It's canvas, zip top, and my daughter-in-law designed that logo, which she is a professional graphic designer, and I think it's an amazing logo, and I absolutely love it. So I just thought I'd show you that since it was here. All right, I'm pretty much done with most of the, oh no, I have one more thing here, and there'll be more possibly, but this is a needle case and accessory keeper by 19 Stitches. Look at her adorable logo there. I don't know if you can see. There it is. Isn't that just cute? So she is in California. She came to the retreat, and yeah, this is amazing. Okay, I don't know if you saw how this pocket just slides, or this flap just slides under. That's the clever way that it closes. And then when you open it up, I'm going to have trouble showing this, but It has places for your needle tips for circular needles. It has a zipper pocket. And then, oh, I love this part of it. There we go. That way. Get this up a little higher. I have to, over here. This is a zipper place for stitch markers, and then this is where you can put hanging stitch markers. Then this is a place for your scissors. No, excuse me. This is for your tapestry needles, and this is magnetic. So the needle can adhere to this. It's not going to fall out. Put it in the pocket. And then this is for scissors. Isn't that clever? And I love the fabric. And then turn it again, and you have, oh, on the other side too, and I'm not going to try to get there because all this backward stuff, but this is another place for either double points or more circular needles. And it is just beautifully made. She is so talented. Oh, here's the one where you can put your needle cables in here, and then the tips are over here. That is 19 stitches. Her name is Terry Ann, and my fabric is called Skyfall. She is 19stitches.com and handcrafted in California. I have to admit, I do love containers for my needles, and I'm really excited to have this one. I think it's gorgeous. Okay, one more thing that I'm going to show that crosses over between knitting and quilting. So I'm going to reach up and get that. No, I'm not. I'm going to turn off the computer, and I'll do that in after I actually sewed on those labels, so I left it in the other room. So I will go get that and then resume. Maybe that might be tomorrow because I'm losing my light here actually. I forgot to tell you what sweater I'm wearing here. This is an Elizabeth Zimmerman percentage system sweater, the saddle shoulder, and I put cables in, and a lot of people ask me if I'm going to write it up, and no, I do not intend to write it up. That would be beyond what I would want to do. Okay, this is a little gadget that I purchased on Mass Drop. It is a Clover desk needle threader. Here, you can see it. This is the breast cancer one, but they come regular as well, and it has changed my life for quilting, for sewing my labels on, because it's hard to thread a needle as your eyesight is not as good. So the way it works, and this is a special needle given to me by Nancy, who does machine quilting for me on the bigger quilts. You put the needle, half the time I can't even tell where the eye is, let alone find the hole in the eye. So I think I got it right. You put the eye of the needle down in this, where the number 1 is. Let me turn it so you can see. Number 1, it even tells you. Put the needle in, eye down. I'm not going to be able to show this very well, but you then lay your thread across where it says 2, and you give it a little bit of tension. It took me just a couple of tries before I got the hang of it, and I can't really demonstrate for you here, but you hold it down over that, and then push this lever down, pull this up, and there's the loop of your thread, and you just pull it through. Then there's a cutter on it. If you don't have scissors, you can then pull the end through there. Nancy sent me this special needle in this little piece of felt, and I just keep it in there. This is the Clover desk needle threader. When I just sewed 2 quilt bindings. I did a full-size quilt, and then, well, it's not like queen size or anything, pretty good size quilt, and just made such a difference because I always struggle with threading the needle, and I really like it. Okay, so we are at quilting now. I don't know that I really need to show this, but look how nicely my fat quarters and my charm packs fit in this box that I got for my husband's socks. I have added a few of Civil War and some reproduction fabrics, but I don't think I'm going to go through those. Maybe you'll see them at some point in a quilt. So I have to get up, sorry. The quilt I was showing you last time, I did Quilt As You Go. I have joined them, and I did 16 of the squares, and I'm going to add more because it's square, and I want it to be a little bit bigger. The colors are kind of washed out here. They're a little more vivid. Each square is quite different, except some of them, the original ones I did. But you can see there are pinwheels, there's log cabin, there's stuff that doesn't have a name. I had just absolutely a ball. And joining them was easy, totally easy. It's no different really than putting sashing between. So I'm going to add a couple of squares, but I had to take a break from this because there's a baby quilt that needed to be done. And I'm going to show you that. I just finished it this afternoon. I did the binding on it. I told you about it last time. I know I'm out of the frame here, but this is from the book, 3 Times the Charm. And the quilt is called Molly. Leisure Arts, I got it at Peddler's Way Quilt Company, one of my local quilt shops, the one that's in my town. And I think I showed you the fabric last time, and this is the finished quilt. I think it turned out so cute. My great nephew, my husband's family, Norwegian part of his family, the name means bear. So when I saw this fabric, I had to do it. And I love that each border is a different fabric. You can see the bottom one. I was going to do free motion quilting on this, but it just seemed like Stitch in the Ditch was going to work out better. And the back I love too. It's sort of this mustard color. There's a little bit of that in some of the fabric on the front. And I love blue and brown together. Let's see. I just saw one now. There it is. Oops, other side. Well, you can see it. It's there. Just a little bit in the white fabric. There it is. There. Not much, but it has a real small polka dot. So all that needs to be done to this is that this little baby, when he is born, it is a he. I know what his first name is going to be. But when he's born, as soon as he's born, I'm going to make a, what did I do with it? I'm going to put a tag, oh, here it is. I took some of the fabric and I'm either going to embroider his name and his birth date on one of these bears and then make a patch and the date and from Tanta Paula on the back for him. So I've ironed on a little bit of interfacing, and that will be that's the only thing that needs to be done to that. I might embroider his name and date, or I might just write it down. It probably would be better to embroider it, but it depends on when he is born. A little blast from the past here. My mother found, sorry, my button hit the table there. My mother found some dresses that we don't even know. This may have been mine. I don't know. It's kind of discolored, but somebody made it. So it has little ruffles and yeah. I don't know if the baby can wear it or not, but I hope she can wear this one. This is one my grandmother smocked and made for me. It looks like it's about a size, maybe 2. Hand smocked, and then it has a little sash in the back, and it's in really good shape. You can see the hem's been let out at least once. So anyway, yeah, that's a little bit of family thing. Then one more quilt, a big one, that I finished and sent off to Nancy to have it quilted. because it's too big for me to do. It is this one, I think. No, I can move the chair a little bit. It is so big it's not going to fit in the frame, but I can't find the book to tell you what name it is, but it's from the book Jelly Roll Quilts by Pam and Nikki Lintott. And it's pretty good size. I used William Morris fabrics. The only change I made was that I put these cornerstones in the top. And then Nancy, I sent it off to Nancy and she did the quilting for me. The back is fairly plain. By the way, I was so thrilled to find out that they actually have this extra wide fabric. They don't generally carry a lot of it in the shop, but I think it's 80 inches, 60 or 80 inches, so I did not have to piece the back. I have to say that's my least favorite part of quilting, is piecing the back of the quilt, because at that point you just kind of want to be done with it. I did hand sew the binding on. Nancy attached it, and then I did the hand stitching on it. So that's a pretty good size quilt, and again, that's Moda. It's William Morris fabric by Moda. And I have a layer cake in the same fabric, and still we'll do something with that. I also have some new jelly rolls to show you, but I think I've taken enough time today, and I will, well, we'll see. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for my knitting and quilting. I hope you enjoyed it. You can find me on Ravelry as PrairiePiper or on Instagram as Knitting Pipeline. And be sure to check out my audio podcast where I give a lot more detail on the knitting, but I don't talk about quilting. So thanks so much for joining me.